Anzac Day commemorates the sacrifices of those who served in all wars, and although the number of veterans is dwindling, the popularity of the Anzac Day March is growing. It's a tradition for many families of war veterans to join the march, but now the Victorian RSL is demanding that World War II veterans ride in cars and that family members follow behind. The RSL says the changes are about making it safer for elderly veterans, but some families are offended by being separated. From Melbourne, Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
Age shall not weary them, but Victoria's RSL chief thinks they need a bit of a hand.
They are incredibly proud people, somewhat stubborn at times, but they believe that they can do it. And it's not until they actually subject themselves to the length of the march, which they didn't want to change a couple of years ago, and they get to the stage where they're going up to the shrine itself. They have to climb the steps, and many of them are incredibly distressed.
This Anzac Day, the RSL wants older veterans to use cars rather than march, and any family members wanting to take part will follow, breaking a tradition where relatives once stepped alongside the marching diggers.
We did allow a grandson to march with his granddad on Anzac Day, and there was no problem, but it's got to the stage now where in lots of cases there are many more families and members marching than there are veterans.
Melbourne's Lord Mayor agrees the safety of the old diggers should be first and foremost.
I've seen them over the sort of, 16 or 17 years that I've been doing that march. I've seen them get more frail, of course, and I worry that one day we are going to have a terrible problem with someone who isn't just injured but perhaps who dies, and that would just be awful.
It's a matter for the RSL to organise the march. I think Victorians appreciate it. I believe there's a role for the family. I believe the RSL thinks that as well. They're trying to manage it in the best way they possibly can.
However, among some veterans and their families, there's a sense of betrayal over the planned changes.
We do not agree with abolishing the march. We march not for public pleasure. We march to think and believe in our boys that we lost. That's why we march.
Nicholas Walsh fought with the 2nd Division for 4 months on the Kokoda track in 1942 and sees Anzac Day as a time when families should be allowed to march with veterans. And a broken hip 2 months before last year's march didn't stop him from joining the 4 remaining members of his unit.
When it comes to Anzac Day, we do get together. We don't, in the old days when we get together after 1950, 1960, we'd have a few beers and that. Now we don't bother, and haven't for years. But we still get together, the few of us that are left, and just enjoy each other's company.
Mr Walsh's grandson Toby has marched with his grandfather for the last 5 years and is disappointed he won't be at his side this year. But he concedes young people's enthusiasm for Anzac Day has drawn attention away from what the day represents.
It's becoming too many people, too much attention away from the veterans, and also it's not a spectacle or a celebration. It's actually a mournful walk for memory.
The National RSL says it's up to individual branches to decide what best suits them for their marches, and that it backs Victoria's decision. Hamish Fitzsimmons, Late Line.